when you get in bed with gambling sites, when the country, 38 states in the country, have legalized wagering on professional sports, this is bound to happen. There are players that are actively playing in every single league right now that are gambling on their own team, on their own sport, on the opposition, you name it. So do not think for a minute that this is unique just to the NBA. This is the only issue that keeps Adam Silver, Gary Bettman, Rob Manfred, and Roger Goodell awake at night. The integrity of the outcome of their sport. And they can't have it both ways. And they want it both ways. They want us to feel and know that they are the highest level of integrity when it comes to the outcome of their sport. But in the same breath, they take hundreds of millions of dollars from the sports books and promote the exact type of wager that a player can control. Gambling is an intrinsic part of the lifestyle of a professional athlete. And you expect young, immature multimillionaires to not do what they've always done, to not tell their best friend, hey, Billy's not playing tonight, he twisted an ankle, nobody knows about it. There's no way to avoid it. I don't think you should embrace it, but this type of story is unavoidable for the rest of time.
Well, I'm scrolling TikTok this morning. I see a video pop up of Kash Patel, FBI director, and he's debriefing an audience at a podium on Fox News about a major NBA betting scandal that just broke in the news today. And I found that a little bit ironic for me personally because I had just posted a video on here 2 days ago about how the NFL manipulates and manufactures outcomes for financial gain. While I think a lot of people see what I see across the major pro sports, it always surprises me the amount of hate in the comments when you say something like that. The main argument against it always comes from some midwit who tries to insult your intelligence by saying that a game of football or basketball is just far too complex and there's far too many variables for it to be manipulated or for the outcome to be predetermined. The flip side of that is the more variables there are, the more levers there are to pull to manipulate the outcome. And I talked about it in that video, go watch that one. But instead, the point I think for this video worth making from the NBA news is that the guys in this NBA scandal, it's not LeBron James. These aren't major superstars. It's like average players, coaches, people you wouldn't necessarily suspect. And I'm not going to mention any names because honestly, I don't know all the details. I don't know if they're just accusations. I don't know what evidence there is. But Kash Patel, FBI director, is talking about it on Fox News. So obviously it's significant. And the takeaway is if just some random NBA players and coaches possess enough influence to pull off a massive gambling heist, then obviously the powers to be in a league like the NFL are more than capable of doing so. My point in even talking about it is not to put the tinfoil hat on and rage bait clicks for some sports conspiracy. It is actually just that I like sports and I like to bet on sports. And I share sports bets on here. And the majority of the bets I've shared on here turn out to be correct. I think if you want to gamble and you want to bet to make money, I think it's a valuable piece of information to maybe just accept that perhaps the game could be manipulated, but it could be slightly rigged in favor of the most profitable outcome. All I'm saying is just keep it in mind. Consider it as a part of your bias when you're trying to gamble on games. Look at the odds, look at the spread, look on your sportsbook or your app to see where most of the public's money is, and just ask yourself, even if you don't want to believe that it's manipulated or rigged, just ask yourself, if I was in charge of maximizing profits for the sportsbook or for the NFL, who would I want to win? I'm not saying pick solely on that, but it is a useful exercise. If you start doing it, I think you will start to get better results and you will be surprised. Because I can tell you that's what happened for me.
We should be pissed as sports fans, dog. I love basketball. It's a great sport, but it is just rampant with gambling right now. And that's not a good thing to happen right now, especially when, everybody talks about NBA's ratings and how the NFL is king. Like, how are you going to be able to keep growing your sport when people just eventually won't be able to trust it? I don't know, maybe you just got to take away gambling in basketball because in that sport, it is so easy to shave points. And, with player props, it's a big deal. Like, man, I don't know.
Federal indictments were announced involving current player Terry Rozier and current head coach Chauncey Billups. What was your initial reaction and what have the last 36 hours been like for you?
My initial reaction was I was deeply disturbed. There's nothing more important to the league and its fans than the integrity of the competition. And so I had a pit in my stomach. It was very upsetting.
And Terry Rozier was allowed to keep playing after an NBA investigation ruled that there was no NBA rules violated. What do you make of that decision now amid the FBI's allegations against him?
So what happened was, because bets were placed through legalized legal betting companies, they picked up aberrational behavior around a particular game in March of 23. And so that was brought to our attention by the regulators and the betting companies. We then looked into that situation and were very transparent about it. And while there was that aberrational betting, we frankly couldn't find anything. Terry at the time cooperated. He gave the league office his phone. He sat down for an interview. And we ultimately concluded that there was insufficient evidence, despite that aberrational behavior, to move forward. We then worked directly with the law enforcement, as they said at the press conference, that the league has been cooperating. And so that was obviously over 2 years ago. So the federal government has subpoena power, can threaten to put people in jail, can do all kinds of things that a league office can't do. So we've been working with them since then. And of course, what they announced yesterday was an indictment. So 2.5 years later, he still hasn't been convicted of anything, in fairness to Terry. Obviously, it doesn't look good, but he's now been put on administrative leave. And so, there's a balance here of protecting people's rights and investigating. And as I said, we've been working with the government, and they have extraordinary powers that a league office doesn't have.